Association of dance, sit down and dance people. Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Victoria Ayodele Fash. If it's your first time here, thank you so much for joining me. If you're a returning subscriber, you know I love you, you know I appreciate you. Thank you so much for always coming back. Okay, so today we are continuing with our wedding night series. We'll actually be talking about some of the myths that people have about the wedding night, or about honeymoon, about sex in marriage generally, right? Okay, all right. So we're talking about those things because, like I said, right, there's so many misinformation out there about, you know, sex. And I don't think that we talk about sex in the marriage context now. I don't think we talk about it enough, okay? You know, like I said, many of us grew up with, you know, talks about keep yourself for your husband, don't allow any man to touch you and stuff like that. But finally, when you do all of those and you follow all the rules, no one is actually telling you, okay, this is what to expect, this is what not to expect, this is what it would look like, this is what it won't look like. These are the things that you've thought about it, that it's not true. We don't have a lot of information, and the information that are out there about, you know, doing the do in your marriage, or, you know, about finally doing the do, are wrong. Most of it are wrong because they are from the wrong source. Some of us go to source for information from romance book, from pornography, from different sources that are just acted and fictitious. They are not real, okay? But those are the kind of mindset, those are the kind of thoughts, or those are the kind of ideas we go into our marriage with, and then we get there and we are confused and we are like, oh, are we not doing it the right way, or stuff like that. But at the end of the day, it's just because you've had the wrong idea all the while. Okay, yes, husband.
Are you allowed to say?
Yes. Well, not really.
You can say adult movies.
Okay, adult movies, thank you. Okay, so I've been told to say adult movies, right? Okay. So yes, you know, some of us, we get this information from adult movies and the rest of it, and it's not ideal, okay? So yes, so we're talking about some of the myths that we might have, or people have, right? Maybe not you, okay? But people generally have about, you know, doing the do in marriage, okay? So yeah, if there's something you find interesting, again, if you're my family members, you shouldn't be watching this video, okay? Because this is not the Victoria, you know, this is a different Victoria. And actually, the reason why I'm doing this is because, like I said, there's so much misinformation out there. There's less information about the reality of doing the do in your marriage. You don't see those things. You don't see content like that, especially from Christians, from the godly perspective. We leave all these things to the world to tell us about, and it's not right, because doing the do, or sex in marriage, is actually a gift from God. It is God created. God gave us the ability to be able to have this pleasure. So why do we leave it to the world to tell us what it is about, or what it should be, or how it should be about? No, I don't think so. So that's why we are doing this. So if you're a Christian and you're not already reading the book of Solomon, you are I don't know, I mean, if you're a Christian who's about to get married, okay, not teenagers, you have no business in that book. That is the Christian adult book. That's the book you should be watching, okay, or you should be reading rather, okay? It tells you how to adore your wife's body, talking about every part of her body. About today, if it's in the Bible, what makes you think that you need to rely on the world's view or perspective on it? Okay, anyways, let's go on to some of the myths that people usually have about sex in marriages. Now, the first one I'm going to talk about is, because I'm talking about this first because I think this is like the biggest myth that I think we need and really need to debunk. And it's the fact that you will automatically know what to do, okay, or you don't need any preparations. They will tell you, oh, keep yourself for your husband. When the time comes, it will just happen magically. In your marriage counseling, your pastors will tell you, oh, don't deprive your husband, be a good wife. Whenever he needs it, give it to him. As if sex is only for the man. That's another myth, but we'll come back to that. Okay, you know, that's all you get. They don't tell you that you actually need to know what you're doing. You actually need to read books. You actually need to, you know, read articles, Christian articles. You know, there are actually articles and books out there. Their marriage, you know, I love what this guy does. And what's his name? This Pastor Mildred and Pastor Okonkwo, Kingsley Okonkwo and Mildred Okonkwo. I love how open they are in discussing these issues, okay? I think they have marriage counseling sections that talks in depth about sex in marriage, and you should be listening to those kind of content, okay, watching them, signing up for those kind of conferences and the rest of it. We need to talk about it. We need to talk about it. They don't talk about it in church, they don't talk about it in seminars, church seminars, they don't talk about it anywhere. Okay, so you get into marriage and you're wondering why your husband is cheating or why he's going out and all of that, because you feel like, oh, but I'm giving him. Are you really giving him? Are you really giving him the way it should be given? Or are you just there? I mean, most of us, we keep ourselves, we totally blind anything that has to do with sex education and the rest of it. And we get into marriage and want to do the do, and you are lying there expecting the man to do all the work. You forget, you don't know, not even that you forget, you don't know that you as a woman, you have your role in also making your man feel pleasurable. So yes, the myth that they tell you is, oh, don't worry, when is that time? You automatically know what to do. It's a lie. You won't. That's why I would advise you to watch my previous content on wedding nights. Watch the last one I did last week on wedding nights, and keep educating yourself. Read books, read articles, talk to people, talk to married people that you can confide in. I have a lot of married people in my circle, that of course I couldn't talk about those, because as a girl brought up in Nigeria, you are not allowed to talk about those kind of issues. You're not allowed to ask questions around that, and they are not even allowed to talk about it. Okay, so yeah, but if you have people that you're close to, it's that bad that I have friends, you have, as Christians, you have friends and all of that you're all married and all of that, but sex is one topic that you don't talk about. You don't talk about your struggles and stuff. We don't share, we don't talk about it. And that's why a man can be sleeping with 5 different friends and they won't know it. Why? Because they don't talk about it. Okay, so yeah, I want us to see it as normal, not normal in engaging in it or normal in the way of the world, but normal to especially when you're getting closer to getting married, or you've gotten to a certain age where it's getting closer. You want to read, you want to explore, you want to not explore not explore in the sense that you want to start to try things, okay, but you want to talk to people. You want to just make sure that you're getting your what's this now just make sure that you're getting your information from the right sources. Okay, all right. So yeah, it's a myth that when you get there automatically you know what to do. It's not right. Okay, so you might be lucky enough to have a partner who is experienced and will be able to take you through, okay, but not everybody. Some people, they are both they've all both been celibate, they are both virgins and all of that. So yeah, you need people who can actually counsel you and tell you straight up the things to expect with the act. Okay, all right. So the next myth I'm going to talk about, which is what I started with kind of, is that sex is only for men, it's only pleasurable for men. And that's the biggest lie from the pit of hell. And that hell, there's no female in that hell. It's a biggest lie from the male pit of hell. Okay, as a woman, you are allowed to enjoy doing the do with your partner. You are allowed to enjoy it. Okay, every place, see, we have G spots in our body. If you don't know what G spots is, go and Google it. Okay, we have spots in our body that are pleasurable, okay, that are made for pleasure, that when a man touches, okay, it makes your body do one kind. God created that part in us as women. Okay, God gave us certain parts of our bodies that when it's touched the right way, when it's pleasured the right way, it will take you to a point of ecstasy. Okay, so yeah, it's a myth that it's just pleasurable for men. As a woman, you are made to enjoy sex. If your partner you are not enjoying it, you have the right to sit down your partner and tell him that, hey, Mr. Man, you are not doing your job right. Okay, so yes, it is a very big myth that doing the do is just made for men. It is not. And the next point, which is also closely related to that, is that women don't get to the point of ecstasy. Okay, you should know what I'm talking about. And the reason why I'm mentioning this, because I'm sure by this time and age, or I assumed or supposed that at this time and age, everyone knows that, as a woman, it's not just the man that would, pour. Like I said in my last video, you as a woman also, you get to that point and you also have orgasm. That's what I'm talking about. In my last video, not the last one, the one before that, my very first video about the wedding night, I heard someone asked me a question, and I thought she was literally joking. She asked me a question that, what do you mean by a woman? Because I said, as a woman, don't be afraid if, don't feel bad if in your first night you don't splash. And she sent a message, and was like, what do you mean by splash? And then I responded and said, I'm sure you know what it means, smiley face. But she responded and said, I really don't. And I was shocked. Like, people don't actually know that as a woman, you also, maybe because I used splash, because you don't really splash. So like, I just didn't want to use, you know, the word because of guidelines and the rest of it. But yes, as a woman, you also get to that point. Okay, it's not just the man that gets to that point. You also will get to that point. You also are supposed to get to that point. Okay, so it's a big myth that women don't get to the point of ecstasy. You do. If you are touched in the right place and you are, you know, flicked in the right places, or if the guy does his job very well, you will get there. All right. Okay. So if it's not happening, sitting there and telling that, bros, you are not doing your job. We need to reevaluate this, our you know, doing the relations, right? So yes, it's a myth that it's only men who can get to that point and women don't. Both men and women, we are giving those organs in our body. Even your you see where I'm touching? Yes, it is also a sensitive part. It's also a part that when a man touches the right way or kisses the right way, you know, it's God created those feelings, those urges in us, right? So yes, you are supposed to get to that point. Okay, so yeah. Yes, okay, so let's move on to the next. Okay, the next myth is that size determines the pleasure. Yeah, and when I'm talking about size, I'm not talking about the woman here, right? Okay, so this one is not from personal experience, because I've only experienced one and I'm very content. but it's actually from research and talking to other people. I mean, I've had friends who have experienced multiple and it's not really about the size. Usually it's not really about the size. It's about, you know, knowing what to do with the tool that God has given to you. Yeah, so that's it about that. So don't assume that, oh, because maybe you've now seen your man and, you know, he's not all those things that you've been watching. See, all those men that you are seeing in adult movies and the rest of it, they are all, they've taken injection, they've taken steroids, they've taken a lot of things to make it appear bigger than normal. Okay, so that is not normal, sister. If you have been brainwashed by all those movies and all of those things, that is not normal. It is not normal. That's the work of injection. That's the work of steroids. That's the work of nonsense, different things that they've injected and taken. Okay, so it's not normal. Please don't go and think that if a man does not, no, that's not right. Okay, and you know, size does not always determine if the person is going to pleasure you more, right? Usually, if the person knows how to work with his tools, right, he will get you there. Okay, he will get you to Calvary. Okay, so let's move to the next point. Now this one is for people who waited, people who have never done the do before they got married. One of the popular myths that we usually hear about is that every woman will bleed on her first night, and that's a lie. Not every woman will bleed. Some people don't even have an hymen. Some people were born without a hymen. Okay, some people have lost their hymen doing athletics and the rest of it. Some people, their hymen is so thin that it's almost insignificant. So some people would actually bleed out. Some people would not bleed. Maybe it's when you do it and then you clean up and then you see that, oh, you know, there was blood there, but that you will not stay in the bed and all those things that you see in Hollywood movies. Most times it's not usually like that. It depends on the thickness of your hymen. Okay, and yeah, it is before that I say, oh, if you don't bleed and you are not a kidney, you are not a virgin. I don't think that is right. That is, it's not like I don't think, that is wrong. It is wrong. It's a lie from the pit of hell. Okay, not every woman is going to bleed a first time of doing the do with her partner. Okay, all right, so the next thing I'm going to talk about is this myth that some people seem to have, that doing the do is better outside marriage than it is inside marriage. Sister, it's a lie. Okay, yeah, it's a lie. It is what? It's a lie from the pit of hell, from deeper into hell. Okay, it's a lie. Yeah, it has pleasurable. It's even more pleasurable. You know, I don't ask for permission from my husband to share this, but I remember after we got married and we started to do things, he asked me once and said, do you regret waiting or not starting to do this, you know, since you've tasted and see that the Lord is good? He asked me that, if I wish, if I wish that I've started doing it before, you know, we're together. And I told him that I absolutely don't, because see, I enjoy doing it with my husband and not feeling guilty after it. Because what's the point of doing everything, you've enjoyed it, and the next thing you go to church, you cannot pray, you have a headache, you feel like God is punishing you, your leg is hurting you, to say, ah, God, is the thing I did yesterday. You know, you feel like you are filled with guilt, with shame, and all of this, especially if you're a Christian. So I don't regret it. I'm really content with what I have, what God has given to me. Yeah, that thing they say it's sweeter outside marriage is a big lie. It's just a lie for them to make you feel like, oh, it's a lie that men usually tell, or most times men tell, so that they can have their way with you. It's a big lie. Doing the do is as beautiful, you know, as anything when you're married, because you do it without feeling of guilt. You do it, and you know, do you know what it means for you and your husband to, you know, do the do and still hold together hands and pray whilst you are doing the do, or after you finish doing the do? See, the Bible says that marriage is honorable and the bed undefiled. Do you know what that means? It means that whatever you do on that bed, as far as it's in the closure of marriage, that bed can never be defiled, because the two of you have been joined into covenant. So I can do it with my husband, and the next minute go to pray, join prayer. You know, you can be doing prayer, and you know the Holy Spirit inspires, and you don't feel guilty because you're married. So what's the point now? You go and be there Sunday, you go to church, you want to lead praise and worship, and guilt and shame will not allow you to do. I don't miss it. Not that I don't even miss it. I'm glad I didn't have to experience it. Of course, okay, well, that's a topic for another day, because I don't want you to start feeling like maybe I'm one saint that didn't didn't do anything. Yes, I had my own mistakes that I, you know, had before I got okay. So, but that's personal. So yes, so yeah, marriage is it's sweeter outside marriage is a big lie. It's a big lie from the pit of hell. Okay, all right. Let's move. The next I'm going to talk about is watching adult movie. I'm going back to adult movie who will help you. Watching adult movies, or being addicted to adult movies, and I'm talking to you out of something that, yeah, I've experienced. Maybe not personally, maybe from people, maybe personally, I don't know. But I hope you guys can even hear me, because I feel like I'm talking with my inside voice in this topic a lot. But yeah, I think yeah. So yeah, I'm just talking to you guys to let you know that, see, everything that is in adult movies is acted. It's not real. That is not the real thing. That's not how it does. They are acting. It is not real. Even the one you see in movies, it's not real. That's not what it is. Okay, that's not how it is in real life. Okay, doing the do is getting to know each other. It's getting to pleasure each other. I am seeking your pleasure, you're seeking mine. But in those movies, they're seeking their pleasure. Yeah, so yeah, that's it. So that's it. It's a big lie that you know, watching adult movie will help you guys. Yeah, but personally though, I mean, I don't subscribe to it. I don't believe in bringing a stranger into your marriage bed and the rest of it. So yeah, I don't believe in it. So yeah, but what do I know? You know, I'm just starting. So yeah, but that's my own opinion. So the next myth is that it's your first night is going to be all night long. You know, you do it for hours, for you know, hours and hours and all of that. And I know I spoke about that in my very first video, that it's a lie. It doesn't happen that way. If it's your first time, the likelihood that you're going to last up to 10, sure, if you last up to 15 minutes, God must really love you. Like, if you as the woman, and not even the man, if you last that long, it must mean that you had the inspiration of the Holy Spirit. But most times, you know, when I'm talking about, I don't mean, you know, even the process of it to get inside already is like 20 minutes already. So, but I mean, even when the whole thing starts, sometimes, you know, it doesn't really last that long, because you want to rest, you want to start again. Because like I said in the first video, you don't want to rush into anything. I feel like this mic should be up here. So like I said in the first video, you don't want to rush into anything, okay? So you want to take your time, you want to pleasure each other, and yeah, so yeah, there's no point in rushing into everything. So what I'm saying is that yeah, your first time is not going to be long. Okay, it's not going to be so all the things that you've envisioned it to be. Okay, most times it won't be. So so you need to make sure that you're prepared mentally. Okay, all right. And then the next thing I'm going to talk about is the myth that your husband have to be the one to make the move. Yeah, that's a lie. Yeah, especially if you're a female that is brought up in Africa, Nigeria, you know, we are taught that, you know, men are the ones to be in charge of the bedroom and all of that. That's a big lie. You can actually make the move. You don't need to wait for him to be the one. Sorry for the background music, guys. Like today is Salah, so everybody is, you know, they are living their best life and they are making noise everywhere. So yes, you don't need to wait for him to come to you. When it's not only men that feel the audio, sister. Women too, we do feel it, okay? And when you feel it, you have the right over your husband's body, right? In the vow, he said, I give you my body, right? So you have a right over his body, just as much right as he has over yours, to call him that, Oga, I need us to do some ministration this night or this minute or this hour, okay? So yeah, yes, so it's not only the men that needs to make the move. You as a woman, you need to be okay with asking for it when you're married. You need to be okay to tell him, babe, I'm in the mood and I want us to, you know, you don't even need to ask him. I mean, there are ways you can show him that, okay, I'm ready for you. So yeah, so make sure that so yes, it's a myth that it's only the man. So look for ways to let him know. Send him a flirty text, you know, tell him point black if that's what you want, you know, massage him, do stuff to him to let him know that, hey, I'm in the mood. So yes, it's not, God gave us that urge to, in as much as men, and that's why I always say that if you tell me that, oh, men have urges, that's why they cheat, that's a big lie. Me as a woman, do I not have? Does that mean that I go out to cheat? You know, that'll be a topic for another day. So yes, so it's not only men that would make the move. You also as a woman, you are allowed to make the move, okay? Now, the next I'm going to talk about is that doing the do is supposed to be in the bedroom alone. I don't know who lied or who told you that, okay? I was watching one, no, don't let me say that. So yes, that's a lie. It doesn't have to be confined only in the bedroom. You can do it literally anywhere. Guess what? The Bible that says that the marriage bed undefiled, it does not mean the bed, just the physical structure, okay? It does not mean that if you have not bought bed at this point, or you don't have money to afford bed, it's grand that you're sleeping, that the ground is not sanctified. No, it is the act in itself the Bible is talking about, okay? So yeah. So you can have it in your living room if you like, if you fancy it. You can have it in your kitchen. You can have it in the bathroom. You can have it anywhere. Okay, it is not just in the bedroom. Okay, so yeah, no, that's a big myth. Okay. Now, the next point I'm going to talk about is that you need to get to that point before you enjoy doing the do. Okay, so that's a lie. Okay. It is not, in short, that point of ecstasy, it's like the highest point and everything, but it usually marks the end of it, okay? So it's not like you're doing it just to be able to get to that point. No, that's not what doing the do is about. The whole process of doing it, and that's why I talk about foreplay. I've spoken about that in previous videos. I've spoken about, you know, kissing and touching and doing all of those things, and, you know, the whole process of doing the do, from the beginning to the middle to everything, is pleasure. All right, so it's not like, you know, the trusting is a means to an end. No, the trusting itself is the end. Sometimes you may not even get there. The other time you may not get there, but you will feel so satisfied because what you have poured into each other. You know, the pleasure is in the process. Okay, the pleasure is also in the process, and then you get to that point, and you know, yeah. So yes, it's not just until you get there before, you know, you've enjoyed it. Okay, all right. So the process is supposed to be pleasurable. Now, this one is for people who are probably trying to avoid getting pregnant, or maybe trying to avoid getting pregnant. Okay, so this one is what they don't tell you a lot. You have to read about it because they won't tell you in your marriage counseling class most times. Is that the fact that you had sex during your period does not mean that you cannot get pregnant. Okay, a woman's cycle is different. So people have early what do you call it? Early ovulation, okay, such that a day after your period, your ovulation starts, or 2 days after your period, your ovulation starts. And the man's seed, okay, can stay inside of you for 5 good days, up to 5 good days, okay? So if you're trying to do and say, oh, because we did it during your period, it can be there until your ovulation starts and the egg will meet it there, okay? So don't think that because we did it during my period, we are not going to get pregnant. If you're trying to avoid pregnancy, use protection, okay, or, you know, pull out. Now, pulling Going out is also not a reliable form of, control, because yeah, it is not until a man gets there that he has already poured inside of you. In the process of doing it, okay, there's something they call pre splash, or pre-cum, okay. Yeah, that happens in the process, and that's enough. That alone is enough to get you pregnant. So you need to be careful. And also douching, in short, when we're talking about infections and the rest of it, in our next video we'll talk about more into that. Thinking that when you douch, or when you take a shower, or when you use Sprite and salt. I had a friend who did that. Oh, she won't get pregnant. She eventually did get pregnant, okay. And thinking that it is only when the thing enters into you that you can get pregnant. I also have another friend who, the thing did not enter, but the liquid entered, and she did get pregnant. So you need to be careful, okay. So you need to debunk all those myths. You need to read. Information is very important, okay. So read about it. It will really help you guys, okay. All right, so the next myth I'm going to talk about, and it's going to be the last myth I'm going to talk about, is that the more you do it, the wider you get. This one is a lie, yeah, it's not true, okay. So yes, if it's the first time, of course, once the intuition enters into it, now there's a pathway, okay. However, when you finish doing it, it's like our part, okay, is like an elastic, okay. So it stretches when it's time, it goes back when it's time, it stretches when it's time, and it goes back. Even when you give birth, okay, it might not be the same, and of course, if you've been disvirgin, it's not going to be the same, but it goes back. But to think that, oh, the amount of time I've done it would now determine the size of it, that's not usually true, okay. Yeah, it's not usually true. It usually expands and come back, okay, until you get to a certain age and all of that, okay. So yeah, that's I don't know about what happens after childbirth. I'm yet to experience that. So yeah, maybe when we get there, we'll inform you guys. But that's all about today's video. So let me know if there are any other myths that you think we need to talk about or not. And let me know if you agree with anything I've said or you disagree in the comment section below, okay? Thank you very much for joining me. Until we meet again, my name is Victoria. Excuse me. Thank you so much for joining me in this video. Make sure you like this video. Please, if you have not subscribed to my channel, please make sure you subscribe to my channel. And if you're yet to subscribe to the Truth and Tales podcast, please make sure you look at the link in my description box below and go and subscribe to the podcast. It's also a video podcast, so you actually see us, okay? And with me and Yemi, we'll talk a lot about different issues, especially about sex and other issues in marriages that you need to, be aware of, okay? So please make sure you subscribe to that channel, and I'll see you there, or see you here in my next video. All right, so my name is Victoria Ayodele Fash, and I'll see you guys when I see you guys. All right, so make sure you join me for the next one, where we talk about how to properly take care of yourself when you start to do the how to avoid STI. Yeah, anyways, all right, thank you very much, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.